So I was out shooting yesterday with a buddy of mine, and we were walking around not finding too much. It was kind of a slow day, and I felt like we were getting a little discouraged. But as we were walking back, we saw this crow sitting on a dirt mound, and it's something I'd usually completely ignore because it's just a crow and they're very common and everywhere. But I took this shot and didn't think much of it at the time, but when I got home, pulled up, I was like, I kind of like this. And it really got me thinking about something, about how many of these do I typically ignore when walking around? Photography, like any art, is very subjective, and what I think is a good photo may not be someone else's taste, and it's something that's really hard to pinpoint, like what is a good photo. If I take a photo of something and it has some feel to it and I enjoy it, like I just consider that a good photo. There's an idea that getting a good photo has to be some super rare wildlife, some unique event. And yes, that adds interest to the photo, but does it make it a good photo? That's something I started thinking about a lot lately, and realizing that like there's a lot of analogies we can apply to life with this. You talk to a lot of older people in the older generation, and what are your regrets in life? And they look back and they say like, I wish I would have spent more time with family and kids, you know, and they wish they would have realized they were in the good old days when they were and enjoyed it. And it really comes back to just like appreciating the little things in life. And this is kind of in the same realm, like when you're doing photography, right? A lot of times we are searching for that once in a lifetime unique opportunity, that something that's going to really impress people. When along the way, we're missing a lot of little opportunities that could, one, be great for growth opportunities and experience, but two, something that you appreciate. There's this concept in cognitive behavioral therapy that I've always found quite interesting. And it's kind of all about this same idea of how we interpret the world and the events and how we kind of process information that's coming in. As you're walking around doing photography, especially in wildlife, there's a lot of opportunities out there to see things that really go underappreciated. I've had a lot of times when I'm out just wandering around on trails and shooting things, and I'm sitting there stopped really trying to get a shot of something, and I've had people stop by and say like, oh, what do you got? What do you got? And I'm like, it's a blue tit, like robin, something simple, like very common. And they kind of get this look like, oh, what are you doing shooting that? And it's like, really, it's probably because there's good lighting, it's a nice scene, and also just trying to appreciate those little things. Like, something I've really been trying to work on is trying to approach photography not in a way of the goal of getting this specific like species or bird or any type of wildlife. While that is cool and it can create a lot of interest in the photo, I want to try and approach it more in a way of getting the good photos first. It's kind of like in life, if you're like, I want to be a millionaire or whatever, but you're not taking incremental steps to get there. You're just shooting for this goal and trying to kind of shortcut your way to success. I know it's kind of a stretch, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're going out just trying to find these very unique, specific birds or wildlife, and you're only focused on getting that shot, you're constantly getting disappointed. Maybe it's because you're not taking the steps to get there, because there's a lot of people that have got those amazing shots, and you'll look at them, and behind that, there's usually a long history of people shooting and getting a lot of experience with photography and taking those shots of very common things and understanding the concepts to make a boring subject interesting. That's something kind of I've set as a goal for myself this year with photography, is trying to not necessarily make boring things interesting, but look for the opportunities to get good shots with things that a lot of people go past and kind of overlook as something that's just, oh, it's just some very common scene. And the photography I do like, I notice a lot when I see stuff is like people that shoot things that are kind of day-to-day and ordinary, but you look at them and you can tell that the photographer, or the artist, however you want to call it, is seeing something beautiful in a very ordinary way. And I think when we take that perspective in life, it's not only good for our health and mental health, but it's also good for practice and experience with photography. Common aspect I see of photographers that I would consider good or that I like is that a lot of them have the ability to find beautiful aspects of very ordinary things, and they'll shoot things that most people walk by. And maybe it's just me and this may be my own personal preference, which is fine, not everyone has the same preferences, but I think there's something to that. I think the concept of allowing yourself to shoot ordinary things is kind of freeing. Because I've noticed this in myself too when I was doing wildlife photography. I'd get so fixated on finding like the most amazing shot or the specific bird. I'm like, oh, if it's not something that's rare, it's pointless to shoot it. But if you allow yourself to shoot these things and find beauty in it and actually get some good photos out of it, I think it's kind of freeing in a way to be able to allow yourself to expand. God, I am really making no sense in this, am I? You know, like when you have this idea in your head of a concept and it makes total sense in your head, and then you try and explain it and articulate it and it just doesn't come out well? I feel like this is what's happening right now. But I'm gonna try and do something here. Sit next to a pond, just some generic waterfowl, ducks, geese, maybe some swans. Just see what we can do. Not trying to shoot anything special, just look for opportunities to shoot things that are ordinary. Maybe get some cool shots. It is still pretty early in the morning. It is kind of a dull, overcast day, so it makes things a little more difficult, but may provide some opportunities. Sometimes it's dull, very like giant softbox light from the sky. Lighting is very easy to work with, but when you're doing wildlife, a lot of times you want to have as much light as possible for higher shutter speeds and catching action. But part of doing photography is being adaptable to the situation and trying to understand like, hey, these are my limitations with what the environment I am has. So having to shoot at lower shutter speeds, trying to find things that are more still. I don't know. It's kind of nice to just shoot things that are plain. I had to move the other side of the pond here because, as typical, wherever you sit, all the action's on the other side. But I did notice there was some cormorants sitting up in the tree. I don't know if you can see them out there, but provide an opportunity for some kind of like moody shot, even in this rain. So I'm gonna play with that a little bit. Something that's always good to do when you're shooting kind of like on ponds or lakes like this. I know you'll see those photographers are like getting in the water and everything, but sometimes that's just for show. It's good to get down really eye level, kind of shoot down on the water. One, to get a reflection and kind of a unique perspective, because that's not somewhere you normally would view it at. Like right now I'm watching things happen and people are used to that kind of perspective. But a lot of people don't see that perspective of like right on the water. That kind of helps make things look interesting. At the end of the day, shoot what you want. This isn't necessarily a you must do it this way. It's just an exercise in understanding of photography and trying to find beauty in just normal things, which can be beneficial for photography and in just your daily life. So I'm not saying you can't go out and always seek for those once in a lifetime shots. All I'm saying is don't miss the opportunities along the way.